What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. So overnight, the US has finally did what they wanted to do, which was to strike Iran's nuclear key facilities, which Trump calls it completely obliterated. But is this true? And what is going on with the next phase of this conflict? Now, poly markets odds off Iran closing the Straits of Hormuz jumped to 55%. A move that would disrupt 20% of global oil supplies. This is going to get worse because right now we know what we knew secretly, that the US was involved in the war anyway. And what does that do? Your bags are absolutely nuked. Okay, they are nuked. This situation is only going to get serious unless we find a diplomatic exit. At the moment, you also, Pentagon taken off the table. No major damage said by Iran to their facilities. Polymarket, 78% chance of Fordo destroyed, 17% chance of another US strike this month, 16% chance of an Israeli ground operation. Wishful thinking. This, Iran is protected by the Zagros Mountains, for those of you who are not familiar with the region, which is historically, it has been incredibly difficult for empires to go there. If you recall the Iran-Iraq war, the ground invasion is out of the question. What they can do here is keep bombing. And of course, then we keep playing with this odds of the Straits of Hormuz going absolutely, completely and utterly closed off. For those of you who don't actually know what the gravity is, I'll just show you this again. If you have a look at this, you'll see where, look, you might actually already start noticing traffic is going to be very heavily congested. And this is the area where 20% between, sort of like Ras Al Khaimah in the UAE, it's a narrow channel to Bandar Abbas. So you're starting to see global shipping right now concentrating on these areas because honestly, it can get really, really difficult. But when they talk about the Strait of Hormuz, is this body of water here where you have Iran on one side and then you have the UAE and Oman on the other side. 20% plus of global oil supplies go through this channel. We need to watch for that. In terms of the overall crypto bag, despite what's happened, Bitcoin's holding very, very well. And the calls are, as and when it escalates, this is very bullish because Bitcoin, typically, there's people calling for bear markets, there's a lot of scaremongering out there, but it is what it is. We've today let the markets open. We have seen this happen time and time again, but that is an incredible BTC strength in light of what people are calling for a technical bear market from this point. And last night, of course, we called it to the T on the liquidity grab. Look at that massive wick here, 100,000. And of course, it grabbed such liquidity there. And so far, you have to admit, right, on the weekly, we still could potentially come down some more. But if you look at the shorter time frames, again, 2 days, daily, this would work itself out. But I don't really see a total annihilation yet. If we do actually go below 96K, 100K even, then you might as well say for now, it is not looking good, bruv. But for so far, as far as I know, what I'm looking at in terms of technicalities, yes, crypto can actually go down further. It's happened in the past, right? To reactions to wars. And of course, we are seeing a significant price drops of different cryptocurrencies. Like, for example, if I was buying Bitenso Tau, I'd wait till it goes below this current level and perhaps maybe as low as 250. It may get really good support here. Of course, there is a significant volume there, but below that, I think, that 250 level is pretty key, right? And of course, many other cryptocurrencies. Let's have a look at SUI. And with Sui, let's just reset this. Sui is a strange one right now because Sui is in a critical zone of support. All right. And we can see here, volume did start to step in. Let's have a look at this on the daily. Yeah, so we still have a bit of volume here, but the volume delta will probably go into negative at some point, and that could be another opportunity. Overall, what do I expect? Well, first of all, the latest staked ETH is now at a record all-time high. Okay, and I was saying to the group yesterday, guys, despite what's going on, the bullish nature of crypto is ridiculous long term, right? But if you look at, for example, Bitcoin dominance, we have hit a historic 5-year high. Now, what I want to see here is the quicker we go to max pain, the better it is for us. And the best way to look at that is the current top for Bitcoin dominance. Yesterday, we had a huge spike. But there's my max pain here, right? If I go to my max pain, you will see around that 70% level. So unless we get up to there, there's nothing to do. Bitcoin dominance must play out for you to get your alt season. And whatever that's happening right now, 65.82% on Bitcoin dominance, for me, is a significant pain. And that's where it is right now. And I'll show it to you on the shorter time frames for you to appreciate where we've spiked to. And you can clearly see that we have gone through this first historical level, smashed through it. Now we are heading towards the yellow line here. And this is what I call 73.5 as max pain. So there's a lot more people worried tonight, and rightly so. Ethereum dominance is dropping fast, as you can see, of course, right now down to 8.8%, despite ETH's, significant run. And the other chart that's actually quite interesting, and I called this to the T, I posted this in the group yesterday, and I said, guys, this is coming down to tap this 700 billion, but you can clearly see we've been in a long downtrend. This is your mid-range in this middle line here. And let's see how we bounce and react. And you can see this has been a historic support and historic resistance with the midpoint in the, sandwich there, where we've had that as resistance at times and we've had it as support in other times, right? Got support here and then bounce right off. So potentially I am looking for reversal in the market before we see anything else. However, if we do the total 3, if we do smash this, then it may well be a very difficult couple of months for us. We plan for that anyway. But right now you can see here, we are at a crucial support resistance level for the total crypto market cap. So I remain hopeful. I want to wish everybody safety. I am concerned, I'm concerned for the safety of my family, of course, being very close to the region. And let's just hope that this situation, with the war is resolved sooner rather than later. If Trump needed some kind of a global, event to get his way, I think he has. He's got that. But what I would say is these B-2 bombers, of course, that struck Iran near the nuclear site had flown non-stop for 37 hours from their bases in Missouri. So pretty much when they took off yesterday. And of course, will Iran strike Trump's strategic Rubicon, Israel's precision gambit, and China's calculated game? It is the kind of worst, most volatile situation we could ever ask for. Like I said, you may have the B-2s kind of dropping these deep bunker bombers in these sites, but Iran has many underground nuclear facilities. And so we also watching out for radiation. You don't just go and bomb randomly, you know, nuclear sites. You know, there is ramifications, there's wins, there's Chernobyl, right? So at the moment, I can only say honestly, you know, as per satellite imagery, 15 plus trucks were seen at the entrance on June 19 to the 20, possibly to shift the nuclear assets and other apparatus. Iran has already been aware of the US attack. Of course, they've been monitoring the B2s despite their stealthy capabilities. So we can believe why there was no contamination reports. Because, of course, if there is, God forbid, you know, the entire region becomes an absolute mess. All right. So while there's a lot of fears, I honestly believe there's opportunities. And once they sort this out, again, he's now, congratulations, Mr. President. You are now in a long list of presidents who have engaged in war. And that was what separated Trump from the rest of the American warmongers, the American imperialists, the American empire, driven by a type of global domination and supremacy. This guy was the only anomaly to that. And now, sad to say that he's, you know, of course, joined this conflict. And it's interesting. This conflict came at a time when his own big, beautiful bill was coming under scrutiny. He just fell up with Trump, with Musk as well. But whatever happens, if you can pump our bags from here, Batman, right, and start, you know, pushing the markets up, you know, all will be forgiven. But for me, beyond markets, beyond money, beyond anything, there's innocent people dying on both sides. And there's innocent Iranians right now this morning with a possible nuclear contamination. No one's a winner, but I'm telling you, hold your bags, take advantage of any dips, and God protect you all, guys. I'll see you on the next one.